Recently, BYD released its financial report for the first 3 quarters of this year, which exceeded many people's expectations. From January to September, BYD achieved a revenue of 422.2 billion yuan, a staggering 58% increase compared to the same period last year. Achieving such a high revenue growth rate is undoubtedly a remarkable feat. If BYD continues this momentum in the fourth quarter, its annual revenue is likely to exceed 600 billion yuan. It is worth noting that in the list of China's top 500 private enterprises in 2022, only 5 companies had a revenue exceeding 600 billion yuan, and 2 of them were internet companies like Alibaba and JD.com. BYD ranked 26th on this list. If BYD can achieve a revenue of 600 billion yuan this year, it has a good chance of entering the top 5, which would signify a landmark achievement for the Chinese automotive industry. Today, the Japanese Economic News couldn't sit still and published 2 consecutive articles. One pointed out that Toyota, which sells well globally, is struggling in the Chinese market, while the other article discovered that BYD's sales in the third quarter of this year are comparable to Nissan's. The Japanese media believes that BYD will surpass Nissan in the next quarter. It can be said that while Japanese car brands are complacent with their past achievements, Chinese car companies have already overtaken them. Just like at this year's Tokyo Motor Show, only 3 foreign car companies participated, 2 of which were Mercedes-Benz and BMW, and the other was China's BYD. Moreover, all 3 companies showcased electric vehicles, while Japanese car manufacturers were still displaying concept cars. The Japanese have to admit that in the race towards electrification, China has already pulled ahead, leaving Japan far behind. 2 more Japanese car brands have entered the list of companies exiting the Chinese market. The list of Japanese car manufacturers exiting the Chinese market is growing longer. Japanese automotive research institutions are gradually outlining the predicament of Japanese car brands in China. In the process of transitioning to electrification, the Japanese automotive industry as a whole lags behind its Chinese competitors by approximately 3 to 5 years. As the sales of new energy vehicles, EV plus PHEV, in the world's largest automotive market continue to grow at a rate exceeding 36%. Japanese car brands' brand strategies and product planning are clearly out of sync with market demand, resulting in their struggle in the Chinese market. Following in the footsteps of Mitsubishi, Toyota is restructuring its research and development organization in China while continuing its collaboration with BYD. Nissan has chosen to adopt Dongfeng's electrification architecture to produce new energy vehicles. Honda is accelerating its localization strategy while revamping existing products and technologies. Mazda, whose sales have slowed down, is attempting to strengthen its relationship with Chinese partners. The effectiveness of these measures has yet to be seen, and the measures taken so far cannot guarantee their continued presence in this market. On October 24, 2023, Mitsubishi Motors held a board meeting and made an official decision to withdraw from the Chinese market. In 2012, Mitsubishi Motors produced vehicles through a joint venture in Hunan, with the Pajero winning the favor of Chinese car enthusiasts with its superior off-road performance, leading the Chinese SUV market. However, after just 11 years, Mitsubishi Motors had to bid farewell to the Chinese market. The reason is simple: the annual car sales volume in 2022 had dropped to 1/5 of its peak sales period. The reason for such a devastating defeat is the failure to develop electric vehicles, EV, for the Chinese market. In a backdrop where electric vehicles account for 1/3 of the Chinese market, Mitsubishi Motors has lost its position and presence. It is not so much that it has been pushed to the cliff's edge by Chinese electric vehicles, but rather a reflection of Mitsubishi Motors' strategic mistakes in the Chinese market. It is not only Mitsubishi Motors that is facing difficulties in the Chinese market. As we enter 2023, overall sales of Japanese car brands in the Chinese market have significantly declined. Nissan's sales in the Chinese market decreased by 26% from January to September, and Honda's sales decreased by 21%. On the second day of Mitsubishi Motors' decision to withdraw from China, Mazda President Akira Morimoto held a press conference discussing the challenges in the Chinese market. He stated that sales in the Chinese market for the first half of this year, April to September, decreased by 10%. Although the sales performance of the new CX-50 SUV launched for the Chinese market was slightly better than expected, it will be difficult to conduct business in the Chinese market without accelerating the electrification process. Not only Japanese car manufacturers but also Japanese automotive parts suppliers are retreating from the Chinese market. Nidec Corporation, the world's largest motor manufacturer, produces motors ranging from small ones for mobile phones to large ones for electric vehicles. Nidec holds a significant market share globally and has established independent industrial parks in Pinghu, Zhejiang Province, and Dalian, Liaoning Province in China. Nidec produces and sells motor systems for electric vehicles in China, with a plan to double its revenue in the automotive business by 2025, reaching 1 trillion Japanese yen, approximately 50 billion Chinese yuan. However, due to continuous losses in sales in the Chinese market, Nidec's president openly stated that the strategic focus of the automotive business, which was centered on the Chinese market, will shift to the European and Japanese markets. He said, "Our products will only be sold to customers who can bring us profits, and relying on specific countries will be a big problem." Nidec has decided to downsize its operations in China, establish a large factory in India, and bring back some production lines to Japan. As the Kingdom of Automobiles, Japan saw a total of 2.456 million new car sales in the first half of 2023, an increase of approximately 15% compared to the same period in 2022. However, this only represents domestic new car sales in Japan because Japanese car manufacturers' major production lines are located overseas. Toyota, for example, sold 5.419 million new cars in the first half of the year, an increase of 5.5% compared to the same period last year, maintaining its position as the world's #1 automaker. It is worth mentioning that China's BYD, for the first time, surpassed Mercedes-Benz and BMW with an outstanding performance of 1.25 million vehicles, entering the top 10 in the world. However, BYD's sales performance in Japan is not remarkable, with only 533 units sold in the first half of 2023. So, how many electric vehicles, EVs, were sold in Japan in the first half of the year? Only 22,857 units, accounting for 1.67% of the total domestic car sales in the first half of the year. In contrast, China sold 3.74 million new energy vehicles in the same period, accounting for approximately 30% of the total car sales. As the Kingdom of Automobiles, Japan is indeed considered a lagging country in terms of electric vehicles. When it comes to the issue of Japan's electric vehicle lagging behind China, how do Japanese car manufacturers themselves perceive it? Industry insiders in Japan have stated that some people may claim that Japan is lagging behind in electric vehicles, but that is not entirely true. The reason electric vehicles sell well in China is that they have been developed as intelligent vehicles. Through system software updates, electric vehicles can constantly stay more advanced than when they were purchased. Japan's automotive industry has not caught up in this aspect. The reason lies in the background of the engineers. For example, Tesla is primarily composed of software engineers, while in Nissan, 80% of the engineers are hardware engineers with a mechanical engineering background, making it difficult for them to respond to new values such as intelligence. Regarding whether software engineers or mechanical engineers will be the ones building cars in the future, experts believe that in the era of electric vehicles, 80% of the automotive engineers in Japan are hardware engineers, but that does not mean they will be unable to survive in the future. If hardware engineers also learn software, they can become engineers with both skills. This will be the strength of Japanese car manufacturers in the future. These hardware engineers have studied mathematics and physics in university, so they can easily enter the software field. They can reacquire skills, turn them into advantages, and make changes. Just as companies need to transform, individuals can also enhance their own value through relearning. Nissan recently launched the first-generation electric SUV Ariya to catch up with Chinese car manufacturers. This vehicle is equipped with 7 cameras, 5 radars, and 12 sonars. It is also equipped with an antenna that receives GPS information from the quasi-zenith satellite system, achieving Level 3 autonomous driving assistance. In addition to Nissan, Toyota and Honda have also introduced electric vehicles. The upcoming Toyota solid-state battery electric vehicle can travel 1,200 kilometers with a 10-minute charge, attracting global attention. Sony and Honda's joint venture electric vehicle, equipped with 39 cameras, aims to achieve Level 4 fully autonomous driving in one step, showcasing the speed and technological prowess of Japanese car manufacturers in catching up.